Hello there, I'm Gary Dorman from Gary Lee Panel Craft. Today we're going to be showing you different aspects of paintwork to car bodies. Now the car body repair's all done, it's all in primer, all looking nice. For rubbing this down, before we spray it, we put a guide coat on there, which basically is in this situation, it's an aerosol black, just so when you're rubbing it down, any little impurities will then show up a lot easier than by just rubbing it down and looking at it, because it'll show up as a dark line. So the vehicle's in primer, give the aerosol a real good shake, make sure you're well ventilated, and just dust a bit on, nice and lightly, over the primed area. And how that is there, when you go to wet flat that all down, any little naughty bits you can see and you can sort them out. That's the guide coat. You're now ready to be demasked and then remask up and rub down the spray. Now the car's all in primer, we put a guide coat on there, which we will rub down just before we spray. So now's the time to demask the masking paper and the masking tape, and to remask painting the panel. This area is in primer to do the bodywork on the metal side of things. Doesn't matter what the car is, whether it's bumpers, wings, doors or whatever. It's a blue metallic. Most colours are metallic anyway. The other thing they're called, it's a base and a clear. Base coat is the colour, and the clear is the lacquer, which seals the whole area off and is what pulls it all in, so it all matches perfectly. We've kept the area as small as we can do around where all the damage was, around the surrounding areas. We're going to mask this up. Then when we spray, I'll be painting this area here, area where it's grey and black. We spray this area here and I'll be blending the colour, pushing the colour up onto this top edge and over to here. Not getting too much build up over here in case the colours shade out. We'll keep it nice and small, blend the colour through, and we will mask the door off, so we spray the wing and the wing only. We don't mask the surrounding areas, you will cover it in overspray, and on a shiny day, a sunny day, it will look absolutely horrendous. So you need to make sure you cover the other areas off, and that is what I'm going to do now. Get the inch masking tape, make sure the area is nice and clean. Pull the tape down, make sure you get a nice edge. Because we're spraying the door here, around here, we need to cover all this area up. The overspray will go right over here. So we need to make sure that we cover all this area as well. For all auto body car repairs, the biggest problem is overspray. So you always make sure you cover all the surrounding areas really nice. We use a machine. When we pull it off, it already has the masking tape on the edge. If you haven't, you can do it with a newspaper, or a bit of brown paper, a bit of wallpaper, whatever you've got. Just to make it all nice and neat. All the surrounding areas. Make sure you seal it all off nicely. Because we're spraying the wing, and not the sill section. We'll mask this area off as well, making sure it goes far into that edge as possible, not to get any overspray on the surrounding panels. That area down the bottom of that sill will again be masked off. The car is a bit dirty. Under normal circumstances, would make sure it was all clean beforehand. The car's all prepped up, all in primer, all guide coated. Now we need to wet flat this down, get it all lovely and smooth and clean, all ready to be sprayed. I'm using P800, so it's an 800 wet and dry, which is fairly fine. For only a small area, that works out perfect. If it's a larger area, I might use a 600, but 800 would be fine. Because it's metallic, you've got to go quite fine, because otherwise the scratch marks will come through. How the paper is, I'm going to fold it in half. We do this wet. It can be done dry. So, got a bit of 400 dry. I'll knock the head off with the 400. And you could prep it up all the way through with the 400 wet and dry. But we like to go a little bit finer. The finer you go, as far as I'm concerned, the better the finished job is. So that's that done with the 400. Now I'm going on to the 8 and get the last bits of impurities taken out on the bodywork. I prefer the wet flatting. It doesn't cause any dust. When you're spraying, the biggest problem you've got is fighting against dust particles going onto the paintwork, especially on these light colours. A little bit of dark, a bit of dust shows up horribly. So keeping the area as small as possible, wet flatting on the bodywork. Once all the guide coat's gone, cut through there a little bit. Once all the guide coat's gone, look at the comparison between this and this. You can still see a couple of areas where there's a little bit more guide coat. To be honest with you, you'd get away with that anyway. I will nip it off a little bit more. Surrounding areas, I've got the 2000, which I would normally use for polishing the car with. I'll give that a little rub down around the surrounding areas to get those little bits of overspray off. Because this paper is so fine, you don't have to cover this with colour to get rid of the scratch marks. It's so fine. And now I've got a grey Scotch-Brite, which is a flexible one. Nib off. I normally do it damp, it just seems to cut in a little bit nicer. With this one, I will scotch over the whole panel, just taking any little bit impurities that's sitting on top of the paintwork, takes them off. Takes the shine off. You don't need to put paint on top of this. All we do is just put the lacquer on top of here. But this will stop it from flaking. If you go on top of shiny paint, there's a very good chance that it will flake over a period of time. Normally I'll take the indicator out. This one was being very stubborn, didn't want to come out. I didn't want to break it for the customer, so I've decided to mask this one up. Paint's going to flake, it always flakes on the corners or on edges, so pay particular attention to nibbing these areas off. All metallic colours had to be painted and blended. So you put your base coat on, you blend the colour out, and then you lacquer the whole panel. So where it's been rubbed down with the 800, that all needs to be put into the base colour, the blue silver, and then you flick the paint out, but keeping it away from these areas here, from up here. If you get too much build-up of a colour, the colour might show out from one panel to the next. So keep it nice and small. If I had the spray gun in my hand, which I haven't, you paint like this, flick it out, let it cure, and then you'd lacquer the whole panel. Wipe it over with a clean cloth. There's a little area there where I've cut through them, another little area there. I will give that a dusty coat, a very light coat of primer before I spray. And there is the car bodywork, all prepped up. Other than the clean up, it's all ready to be sprayed. This is a tack cloth. It is exactly what it says it is. Sticky, it's a sticky cloth. Normally they're in a sealed container. Don't come to a lot of money, but a worthwhile investment. Before you spray your car, you've got all the area all cleaned up. You get an airline with a blower on the end of it. You blow the area off, and as you're blowing it, you put this cloth over the whole thing. And what this does, any top layers of dust that you haven't taken off before will come off now. So as you tack cloth in the panel, the surrounding areas around it, tack cloth everywhere, and any little marks that have been left by residue normally of a bit of water or a bit of dust particle, it will take it all off and put it onto the cloth. And that's it, that is now all ready to be sprayed. Hope what we've explained to you today has come in useful. If there's any other problems, you can check out our website or give us a phone call, and we'll be glad to help you out.